Hi guys, welcome to A to Z United. This is Anand here, and I have Ankit. And today we are joined by a special guest. Please welcome Martin from United Zone TV. Martin, it's good to see you, brother. Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who don't know, United Zone TV is also like a one-stop shop for all the United-related updates. You'll find the previews and reactions and all the
hmm
latest updates that's happening in the Manchester United world. You'll find it in United Zone TV. So please do go and check out his channel. The link is in the description below. And please show some love, show some support, and subscribe to his channel. And let's build our community, guys. Come on. Okay, with
hmm
that being said, this video is about our next game. This is going to be a preview for our next Premier League match against Arsenal, which is going to be at Emirates. But just before that, I would like to touch base on our previous defeat against Sheffield United at home. Now, now Manchester United prior to this defeat in the Premier League were unbeaten in 13 games, with 10 wins and 3 draws. And our last Premier League defeat before yesterday was against Arsenal at home, where Aubameyang had scored, the penalty against us.
hmm
And Martin, what I would like to ask you is, what were your views on the Sheffield game? We went on such a good run, and and then we lost this game, which was pretty unexpected. In fact, the headlines in the UK were reading that this is one of the shock result of this particular season. So, according to
hmm
you, Martin, is this just a minor blip, or were there any general concerns, that you basically saw in the game?
Well, when you look at it before the game, it's one of those games where you expect to absolutely like dominate. You wouldn't expect Sheffield to get a result out of this because you're at the top of the league and they're struggling to get a single win, which they have obviously against Newcastle. But you're expecting to come in here, do a job, and just leave with 3 points. But that's not what happened. We talked about it in my preview. It was complacency. That's what happens when you get complacent. You won't win a title because you when you go into a game expecting 3 points, you go in there, your head isn't there. You're just like, whatever, we're just gonna do a job and just gonna leave. And the Sheffield, I'm not gonna say they played an amazing game. They played a good game to their standards, but it was a game that we should have won. But we just played so bad from start to finish. We just did not play well at all. I feel like out of the three attackers, I think Martial was the only one that was trying to create and score a goal. And to be honest, that disallowed goal was absolutely ridiculous. That should not have been disallowed. And the goal that they scored, I felt that it was a foul on De Gea that the player just threw himself at the keeper. So it was just one of those. And I told you guys, remember when I said if they score 1-0, they're gonna just sit back the entire game and just hold on to dear life for that 1-0 win. And then in the end, I was throughout the game, I was like, we're gonna score here. We're 100% gonna score a goal because Ali has changed the mentality in this club and the fan base overall, that even though if we go 1-0 down, we will always come back and try and score a goal or two. So I'm there, I'm chilling, man. I'm like, we're gonna score a goal. I'm not worried. And then we ended up scoring. So I was like, all right, this is where the comeback starts to come into play. And then that second goal came, and I was like, that what the hell was that? That was so many people in that goal were at fault. You can blame Tellez, you can blame De Gea, you can blame Axel. It was just I don't know if you guys saw, but on Stretford Paddock, Adam McCullough said that if Eric Bailly was in defense that day, that goal would not have gone in, and I completely agree with him. He would have just stuck in a foot or made some ridiculous tackle to clear the ball out, but it was just one of those games where you expect to win and you're so calm about it that you go in there, and it's just hard to get yourself up for these lower level teams. Like it's imagine trying to get yourself up for a Liverpool game compared to a Sheffield United game. It's just not that different. I mean, it's very different. And now we're in a situation where we have to beat Arsenal. We have to win because Man City have a game in hand against us, on us, and if they win, they'll go 4 points clear. So we absolutely just have to win. And I wouldn't really say. I guess you could say it's a blip, but it's just one of those where you take it on the chin. You're not going to win every game, so you take it on the chin. You move on and you improve from. You learned your lesson. You cannot get complacent. You learn your lesson and you move on, and now you carry on for the rest of the season and just try and do your best.
Yeah, yes, Martin. I would also like to echo your point by saying that when I looked at the team sheet when it came out, and when I didn't see Eric Bailly start that game, I was pretty much, I was a bit disappointed to be honest. But of course, we did have Axel Tuanzebe and
Mm-hmm.
we never really saw Tuanzebe and Maguire partnership, but I was actually pretty much disappointed to see that Eric Bailly did not start because if Bailly had played that game, then I'm pretty sure that we wouldn't have conceded, I would say, both the goals because Bailly is
Mm-hmm.
pretty good in corners, and
One hundred
secondly,
percent.
yes, and secondly, he is one of our most vocal defenders. So the way, the amount of lethargy showed by the players in conceding the second goal, that wouldn't have happened if Bailly was on the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And to all the viewers watching, I would also like to, say that there was an amazing reaction by you, Martin, on your channel when you were reacting to that game against Sheffield United. So Martin, you basically echoed all the emotions of the United fans. So I would definitely put, we would basically also have that link in the video in the
Mm-hmm.
description as well, so you could check out, Martin's reaction on United's own TV against,
Mm-hmm.
the Sheffield game as well. So Ankit, bro, what are your thoughts on this, on this game that went by against Sheffield? Is this a blip or is it a general concern that you felt about?
I hope it's a blip because the reason is we have seen the similar pattern under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I don't do not want to criticize or I do not want to say anything because we have lost or bottled it under in crucial games. If you see the four semifinals, and even when it matters the most, I think we take a back seat and we get complacent and bottle it big time. So in the longevity of the season, I think it is a minor blip because I see that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will get this squad moving ahead, will bring that motivation in for this Arsenal game specifically because I think it is a massive, massive game. And as Martin said, we have to win it. Manchester City has one game over us, and if they win, they go 4 points clear of us, and then it is very difficult to catch them considering that Liverpool yesterday. So they are also going to catch up. We have Leicester on our back as well. So many teams competing for that one position. I think that be on that team that is leading in front. So if United themselves to be title contenders, then I feel that we shouldn't lose such games. And specifically that performance that we showed against Sheffield was, I do not expect after coming such a long way a game for literally 3 months and then putting up that performance again a really poor Sheffield side. I think they didn't show our intentions to be champions. So I take it as a minor setback, but I just hope that United bounce back in this next game.
Definitely, Ankit. So basically, United and the unbeaten run of 13 games has been over, and Sheffield United has basically defeated us. What's done is done. Right now, all we have to do is we'll have to, as Martin basically mentioned, that we'll have to take care. We'll have to look for the next game and see if we could get a result over there. So our next game is, of course, against Arsenal at Emirates, and the statistic says that we haven't defeated Arsenal for over 2 years right now. So we've played 4 games, we lost three of them and drew one. And prior to these 4 games, our last win was a 3-1 win, which came back way back in 25th of Jan 2019. And so basically, that is the only win Ole has, over Arsenal
And
in
I
five
believe that
attempts.
Arteta is the only manager thought that Ole hasn't beaten yet. So
Yes,
that is one to be considered.
yes.
That'll come this Saturday though. That'll come. I'm
Yeah, I
waiting
hope
for that
so.
one.
Yes, and so Martin, basically, according to you, how big of a game is this for Ole and the team? And even if we take a win over Arsenal, would this improve our chances as title contenders?
To me personally, there are three games that I desperately want to win throughout the whole season, both legs, home and away. That's Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal. Arsenal, the last game we played against them, I watched so many videos of people just going, "We dominated Man United. They could not even get it. They had no chance to win that game." And I'm watching the game and I'm like, "You had less shots than us. You had less possession, and you scored by a penalty. So, which wasn't even a penalty." Um, so I'm watching that game and I'm like, we just showed them too much respect. We should have absolutely just completely gone for it. Oli was way too defensive. He played it way too safe. He tried to Jose Mourinho it and get a draw. But I feel like now that he's learned from that, and he will definitely try and change his tactics this time around, because we've seen that Arsenal, whenever they play the bigger teams, they are not the same Arsenal when they're playing a Newcastle or they're playing a Burnley, which they even lost to Burnley as well. But this team, they're not all mentally there, and I've heard news that Aubameyang isn't available for the game tomorrow, which is, to me, that honestly doesn't even matter, because he's not even scoring at the moment. He's had like one goal in his last, I don't know, 5-6 games, so that doesn't matter to me. But I feel like Ollie has to go into this with a different mindset and he has to make these players hate losing, because I don't know about you guys, but to me it seems like these players don't hate losing enough, apart from like maybe one or two, like Rashford and Fernandez. But they need to like get a grip and learn that it sucks to lose. Like, you should not be losing. You should try and not lose any game. You should try and absolutely go for every single win. And if you can't, that's fine. If you go for the win and you lose, as long as you put in a good performance, for me, I won't get upset with you. But if you're being lazy and you're just not playing to your highest potential, then like I don't know what that is. But this Saturday against Arsenal, I feel like we should go for the win 100%, put out our best side, and play Bailly. We need to play Eric Bailly. I hope that he's fit. I wasn't too upset that Axel played, because I think he's a really good defender, a very young, good defender. It's just that injuries have been his downfall throughout his career. But if Eric Bailly is in that defense, he's going to be Arsenal's nightmare. And I just want this win so bad. I really do hope that they go into this thinking we didn't do too well against Sheffield, so we have to bounce back and have a really good performance against Arsenal. And really, that's also making a statement as well, because Arsenal, they're going to look to play hard. They're going to play their butts off and absolutely just try and go for it, because they're not going to play good against these lower level teams. When they play against United, just like the last game, they're going to try and go so hard and get the win. So we got to be on top of our game, and we got to try and do our best to get the 3 points, man.
Definitely, Martin. This is a very important game. And of course, the second half of the season has also started. And in the first half, we never defeated a top six rival. So this is
Hmm.
the first game that we'll be playing against the top six in the second half of the season. So, if we defeat Arsenal, two things are going to happen. One is the confidence is going to come back. Secondly, at least it's going to avenge the Sheffield United defeat as well, where we got defeated. So,
Hmm.
Ankit, how about you, Ankit? What do you think? If we defeat Arsenal, would this impact our title chances?
I think it is a massive game, as I said, because I think this is a perfect opportunity to bounce back from that horrific Sheffield performance. The best thing that I liked about the worst thing, sorry, that I hated about the performance against Sheffield was the performances of the players. I believe that in this long run, I think we have played not squashbuckling football. We have been there. We have smash and grab victories. We have won 3-2, 2-1. We have been there. But we haven't performed to the potential. But I think the work rate and the work rate of the players has been excellent. But in the last game, I think that wasn't there at all, and that is the major concern that I have. Anthony Marshall was just walking on the pitch, and the 88 minute I saw a video on Twitter, and I was shocked. Like your main player, your attacking threat is walking on the pitch, and Cavani is making all the runs. So that made me concerned a bit. I think Rashford isn't fit. He is not 100%. That is the reason we are not seeing him making that runs. Greenwood is not in form, and if our front do not click, I think we cannot depend on Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes on each game to bail us out. I think that is a major concern for this United side, because last year our front three, I think, were the best, and that is the reason we were on that terrific run and we got top three last season. But this season, I think they are not clicking as a unit, and this is where my major concern is. Against Arsenal, as Martin said, I'll echo to it, because Arsenal against the bigger sides are just two-way defensive. They will set up with a back five. They'll play Partey and Xhaka at the midfield, and that is the reason it makes difficult to break them down. And the reason that Ole hasn't won against Arteta is because he's too defensive. And when Ole comes against such a defensive side, I think he struggles a bit. We have seen this against the lower side, and we have seen specifically in the last game where we weren't able to break down that low block or the 10-man defensive side. So I think on Saturday, I think I expect a similar thing, because Arteta doesn't want to lose His job is on the line, and if he loses tomorrow, I think there is an additional pressure. And if you see at the other end, I think similar with United, if we lose this match or even get a draw, I think draw is a fair enough result. Considering the performance, if it is good, I think draw. I'll take a draw. But if we lose tomorrow, I think that is gonna hamper our chances massively. And to come back up from there, I think it's gonna take a massive turnaround. And I believe that tomorrow's game is very very important for us.
I just want
Uh,
to add something small. Sorry.
Sorry.
I feel like now we've reached a point where Martial needs to be benched and Cavani needs to start in
Mhm.
his position
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I feel like we need to put in Martial's head that you have to start competing for your spot because you're not firing, you're not scoring. And Cavani, when he's starting the games, he's bagging himself a goal or two. So I feel like Ole needs to drop Martial for the next couple games and really when he subs him on to come onto the pitch for however long is left of the game, he needs to just try and compete and really try and prove himself. I think that's how we'll get the best out of him. Yeah, I think he should be dropped for now, and because of his form has dropped so much, Cavani needs to be starting these games, and he may be a bit older, but it's just something you have to do. It's you can't risk starting Martial every game, and he's just not performing up to the standard that you expect him to. So, yeah, I just wanted to add that part.
Definitely.
And also on Cavani, yeah, and also on Cavani, I think his work rate is brilliant. His off the ball movement, his
Mhm.
pressing, um, even considering his age, I think the work rate that he shows in each and every game, I think it's commendable. And that I think at least Marshall could do that. I think he can show a little bit of spirit, of passion to when he's not playing well. Even I think he can do it for the team. So I think that is a slight criticism that I can say about Marshall when he's not playing well. I think he doesn't give 100% to the team. So I believe he should start doing it. And Ole at this point of time can play him off the bench because we have Cavani as a striker. So that is
Mhm.
an additional competition that Marshall can face.
Mhm.
Yes. And of course, we do have a big squad, so there is a lot of competition. It's all about rotation, basically. And me personally, I would like to see United go to Emirates and basically get the win. I wouldn't accept a draw or a defeat because right now we are at that point in the season where Manchester City have picked up, form. So I think they are in a consecutive. I think they won 7 games in a row or something. So they're in red hot form. Uh, they're 1 point above us with a game in hand, so they are probably running away with it right now. Uh, so I think we should go to Emirates and kind of get the win. And of course, we did have, as Martin and Ankit, as you both mentioned about Martial and Cavani as well. Martin, what I would like to know is, considering United played just 2 days ago against Sheffield, what changes would you prefer to see in the lineup? That got beat against Sheffield, basically.
For me personally, I think Fred needs to play because a lot of people don't agree about what I'm about to say, but Fred is one of the most important players on that squad. His energy is like protein shake, Adderall, crack. Just like he's just so filled with energy. He goes, I don't know. Do you guys remember that game against Fulham? It was the 83rd minute, and he was trying to just bully that player. He's just trying to get the ball off of him, and he was just
Near the
showing so
corner
much
flag.
energy. Yeah, so late in the game, and that's just what you need. You need that passion, you need that energy in your team, which just lifts everybody else because they're gonna look at him and they're gonna be like, okay, well he's doing that in the 83rd minute, so I can't be walking around and looking lazy. I gotta also do what he's doing, which will project itself across the entire 11. So I would play Fred alongside Pogba in that defensive midfielder role. I feel like he is a very good defender, and his defensive work rate is just so important to that team because they're gonna have Partey, they're gonna have Xhaka in that midfield, and Thomas Partey, he's just so good. I'm so disappointed we didn't go after him, but he's a very good player, and he's one that we should really watch out for. I wasn't too upset with Telez's performance. I think he did a decent job, but I would start Luke Shaw instead of him because he's a better defender than Tellez. And I feel like when Arsenal have their opportunities to come at us, I feel like Luke Shaw will be in a position to handle it better because he's in form right now. You also have to see Eric Bailly and Maguire start in that center back pairing role. It's a must, absolutely 100%. There, if he's fit, you have to play him. Other than that, I'd probably just start Cavani over Martial and play Rashford, Cavani, Greenwood as our starting three, and just keep everything else the same because you can't afford to make any changes right now. Pogba, Bruno cannot be dropped, and just keep everything the way it is, apart from those things that I mentioned. So I feel like if we make those changes, it'll probably be a different outcome than what we saw against Sheffield. They're not going to want to lose two in a row, especially with the position they're in. They're probably like, we have to win the next game. There's no ifs, ands, buts, or we just have to win.
Yes, Martin, definitely. And I think, and of course, any lineup we kind of put forward also, it's going to be a good lineup
Hmm.
because we do have the strength and depth as well. And this is totally out of the box. Just my opinion when I was thinking a while ago is that I wouldn't be disappointed if, Ole Solskjaer, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer starts Donny van de Beek and Mata as well.
Hmm.
I mean, of course, there's definitely a debate on that, but the only reason I'm saying that is because, it's going to be a technical game. And of course, we have seen this template of United sitting deep and then getting teams on the counter attack, which will be really good for. But sometimes, for a change, it kind of feels good, if we have the technical players on the pitch. But yeah, definitely, just my thing. How about you, Ankit?
I don't believe that
Definitely not
Mata
Mata.
or Donny. No ways. No Daniel James, no Mata, no Donny Van de Beek tomorrow. I do not see them starting at all. I think if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer starts, I think it is the surprise of the season because clearly he doesn't trust, not trust, but he clearly doesn't want to drop his key players in which he trusts. So I think I'll stick with the same lineup that Martin just mentioned because this is the best and the preferred lineup that I'll go with Arsenal. But knowing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think he'll go with the McFred defensive midfield partnership. I think I don't know what your opinion are on this, guys, but I feel that tomorrow Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will go with the McFred partnership because he wants a defensive stability. And Eric by not playing that Sheffield United game, I believe he'll not straight away start him because he gave Lindelof a rest. Because if he wanted Bay to play in this game, I think he would have started Lindelof against Sheffield United. But tomorrow, I believe that if he starts Bay, I think we do not need the defensive pairing of McFred. I think we can go with the offensive pairing with Pogba and Fred, as Martin said. So, what do you guys think? Because I think he'll start with McTominay and Fred.
Sorry, I just wanted to add on what Anand said. Me personally, sorry, it was just something weird that happened on my screen. Uh, Me personally, I think it wouldn't be a surprise if we did see Mata, because not start, but maybe later, come on later on in the game, because
Yeah,
he's just one of those players that you just never lose that skill that you have, that ability to unlock defenses. His only downfall is that he's very slow. He's probably the slowest player on our team, but his ability to pick out a pass, it's almost one of the best on our team. So I wouldn't be surprised. And one thing I did appreciate about Ali last game is that we saw Donny van de Beek come on a bit earlier than how he's brought him on in the other
nah,
game.
nah, nah, nah.
No, because
I believe because he started him, he substituted him in the 80th minute. We need a goal. We are 2-1 down at home at Sheffield United. I think he could have brought him earlier. That's what I
I,
think. Yeah.
I guess you could say that, but in terms of like, if we're comparing it to how he's like played him in the other games, you see him bringing him
Yeah.
on in the 88th minute, in the 90th minute, when the game is already over. There's no point. But I feel like we desperately needed someone to change the game, and I don't know. I guess in the last 10 minutes, he thought maybe something could happen. 10 minutes isn't the longest time, but it's also not the shortest time to do something. Something can
Mm-hmm,
happen
mm-hmm.
in literally 5 seconds. So I think it was good from Ollie to bring him on in the last 10 minutes to try and like say that I have confidence. I believe in you, that you're able to do something here. But you're probably right about that. I feel like he should have brought him on earlier, but it was nice to see him not bring him on in literally the end of the game where he can't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
People
yeah,
get
yeah.
upset when he's not playing well because he's getting literally like 3 minutes to play. So, yeah, that's just my views on the Van de Beek and Matza situation.
Uh, yes, Martin, definitely. And so, of course, I mean, as we have seen this season, we definitely do have defensive issues because there are a lot of Premier League games, even the Champions League as well, where we have conceded a huge number of goals.
Hmm.
Of course, maybe players were not being fit. Harry Maguire was not in form as well. But the other concern is on the other side of the pitch as well. Now, what I'm referring to is our United's front three. of Marcus Rashford, Anthony Marshall, and Mason Greenwood. And if you basically remember, these three players scored I think 60 plus goals last season, which basically resulted us in qualifying to top four. So
Mm-hmm.
Martin, what I would like to get your opinion on is that this season, of course, our front three are not performing up to the standards. Marcus Rashford has been doing well. Of course, he's been the one who's at least scoring the most among among the front three of Rashford, Marshall, and Greenwood. But Marshall and Greenwood haven't started yet. So, will this, would we be able to sustain, let's say, a title challenging run? If the front three are not performing, do you think can we sustain that run? Can other players, just pick up or, what do you just, I mean, basically think about this?
I'm gonna talk about each player individually. I'm gonna keep it short, but I'm gonna talk about them individually. So Marcus Rashford for me, I'm not gonna like he's scored like what 15 goals for us this season. So I can't say anything bad about him. He's performing, and even when he's not playing the best game that he can play, he still ends up getting a goal or getting an assist. So for me, I have no complaints over Marcus Rashford. I think he's picked up a knock or something, so that's why he hasn't really performed up to his standard. But for me, there's no complaints there. For Martial, I feel like so early on in the season, his confidence just went because of that sending off against the Spurs game in the Spurs game. Ever since then, he just hasn't looked the same. He's not, and we brought in Cavani, so Martial's one of those. He's a confidence player, so if he's playing with high confidence, he will score you at least 20 goals a season. Right now, we're seeing the absolute lowest of lows for Martial. He's seen that we've brought in Cavani to compete in his position because he probably thinks that he's not doing good enough. So for me, look, I'm not completely writing him off. I think he could still potentially score us like 15 plus goals this season. But as of now, I just think that Cavani needs to step in for him and really make him compete for that position. As of Mason Greenwood, I've seen so many people complain about this kid as if he's in his prime or he's 25 years old and he needs to be scoring you 30 goals a season. This kid's 19 or 20 years old and he's had some personal issues in his life that will 100% like mess with your mentality because we all have to remember these people are humans too. Like they go through their situations at home, and I don't want to talk about it too much, but there was like news that his friend had lost
Passed
his
away.
life. So
Yes.
yeah, he passed away. So that will 100% take a toll on you. It's not good for your mental health. So this notion that he needs to perform up to the levels of like I don't know, like these players that are in their prime or they're scoring so many goals a season. He's a young player, and on top of that, he's coming with this pressure of he's going to be our next number 9 in the future. So he's for me, I think he's performing well. I don't expect him to score every single game, but I have that I have that confidence in him where I think he can because he's such a good player. And even if he doesn't score in a game, I won't be upset with him because to me, he's still young, he's still improving, and there's just such a long way for him to go. So I'm not worried about Greenwood. I think he's performing. I think he's picked up his performances recently. So yeah, the front three for me, honestly, I'm not that worried about them because whenever you have Bruno behind you, trust me, anything is possible. That man will create something out of literally nothing. You'll just be sitting there looking at the screen, and out of nowhere, we have a chance to score, and it's just happy days. So for me, the only one I can really not complain about, but I have a bit of thoughts is about Martial. So I think he'll pick it up, but for now, he needs to be challenged in that number 9 spot.
Yes, Martin, and I do agree that we cannot have much expectations on Mason Greenwood because he's at this age he's performing at the elite level. So I think that's a big testament. And of course, sometimes expectations can be unreal. And when you mentioned about Greenwood, the person coming to my mind was Amad Diallo. So
Hmm.
you cannot just expect him to start in the first team and then
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
hit the ground running as Cristiano Ronaldo did,
Hmm.
or maybe Mbappe did that. And neither can we expect Mason Greenwood to perform in the level of, let's say if someone like Ruud van Nistelrooy just to
Hmm.
constantly score goals.
Yeah, I
And
know.
but definitely, Ankit, how about you, Ankit? If the front three, let's say for example, as Martin mentioned, that Marshall is not, which he is definitely not in a good form. Uh, What are the other options, which Solskjaer could resort to? Like, let's say, for example, playing Cavani consistently. What are your thoughts, basically, on the front three dilemma?
I think what Martin said, I think it perfectly summed up each and every player situation. Greenwood, I think we shouldn't expect the way we are expecting from him because he's not hit the prime. He's still a teenager, and the last season, I think the number of goals, the amount of goals that he scored, I think were terrific, and it helped our United squad to go into the top three position. But we cannot expect a young kid to do this each and every season in and out. So at this point of time, I think Marcus Rashford is, as Martin rightly mentioned, is carrying a knock or is, I think, pretty slight injured, and that is the reason I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might have preferred with Dan James in particular games because that guy hasn't played enough of games, and when he want Daniel James or he starts Daniel James, I think then we start expecting that he plays like a good player or he turns up like a Rashford is playing. So for that, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to trust his French players a little bit more. When did we see last Jan Mata play? I think it was in cup competitions in the Carabao Cup. When did we see Dan James play? Uh, are we seeing the best of Donny Van de Beek? No, I think, and also Tuanzebe, I think we saw him in the last match to play a full 90 minutes. So I think the squad rotation here is a key thing and an important thing because if we want to win titles, we cannot just let our injured players or out of our players to continue on the pitch because they are gonna have a bad day. And once the fans are on back of them, their confidence will be shattered, and then it goes downhill. The entire thing that you have built, the momentum that you have built, goes downhill. So at this point of time, it is a worrying sign for the United squad. But in the longer term, if our front three at least does what half of what they did in the last the 2 seasons last year, the 2 months in the last season, sorry, I think then we can certainly go ahead in the complete title race and challenge for the title. But at this point of time, we cannot depend on Bruno's brilliance or Pogba's overhead kicks and fantastic finishes to bail us out in each and every game. I think our front three with Cavani and maybe Daniel James has to play in because we are playing a considerable amount of games this season. There is no rest, there is no break. In a normal season, I think the players would have had rest, would have had a pre-season to gather themselves and have a rest. But this season, I think it is completely different. So that is the reason squad rotation comes as a vital thing over here.
Fair enough.
I just want to add on to the squad rotation thing. I think for now we don't have to be too worried because once the Europa League comes around, you're gonna see like probably all the kids playing and all the fringe players playing because we're probably not gonna go for that. Our main focus right now is trying to make the top four and potentially win the league. So for me personally, you're gonna see a lot of the fringe players in the Europa League once that comes around. So I wouldn't be too worried about seeing like Daniel James, Tuanzebe, and Van de Beek play right now because these are games that are so important and we need our best players to be there right now. So
Yeah.
once Europa League comes around and I don't know, even in the next round of the FA Cup, it's West Ham. So you could probably see players play then. So I think Ollie's doing a good job of rotating the squad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So, uh, of course, coming back to our game against Arsenal tomorrow, Martin, I would like to go with you first. What are your score predictions?
Every single time I make a prediction, it's always wrong. So I'm gonna try reverse psychology. I'm gonna say we're gonna lose. No, I'm kidding. But I for me personally, I think we can always concede a goal. I mean, it's so rare that we get clean sheets. So I think Arsenal could score one, but that's it. One max because even them they're struggling to score a goal. Sorry, I wouldn't even be surprised if they didn't score. But me personally, I think they can against our defense. But I think we can also score at least 2 or 3 goals. So I think it's gonna end 2-1 or 3-1 to us because of the players we have and how shaky their defense can be, and they're just not in good form right now. So I'm not counting their wins against Newcastle and all them lower level teams because once they play a bigger side, they just completely crumble and they don't know what they're doing. It's like they just learned how to play football yesterday. So I'm gonna go for a 3-1 win. I'm gonna be confident. Okay, I'm gonna go for a 3-1 win.
Okay, fair enough. Ankit, how about you?
Yeah, I'll go with a 2-1 we win to United. but don't be surprised. I think in the back of my mind, I think this is gonna be a stalemate draw or a 1-1 draw. I think you can expect a result like that as well. In the Old Trafford game, if you remove the penalty, that game was heading for a 0-0 draw. So I expect a similar thing over here, but I just for the positiveness, just as a United fan, I want to see United win, and that is the reason I'm going with 2-1 United. But the draw is on the cards for us, I think.
Hmm.
Okay, and I also kind of feel the same. Basically, I just feel that it might be a draw, unless if Ole goes for it, because what we've seen in the first half of the season is against all the top six sides, Ole has selected a lineup, basically a conservative lineup, having a much more defensive kind of way. So, considering that this is a game that we should not be losing, but yeah, I also kind of feel that this most probably would be a draw. But what I would like to go with is again a 2-1 win, 2-1 win to United, basically. So definitely, I mean, after a loss against Sheffield, this is a must-win game against Arsenal, which is coming up at Emirates. So more of the reaction also to be coming up after the game as well. Hopefully, United win this game and try to be on par with Manchester City, who are currently red hot form, and hopefully we should not be losing any more points as well. So that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please do like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And also thank you to Martin for joining us on this on this preview video. Also, please do check out United Zone TV, where you'll get all the previews, reactions, and basically all the A to Z stuff regarding Manchester United in
Yeah,
in the channel as well in United Zone TV.
for
So
sure.
yeah, and
Thank
Martin,
you
thank
guys
you
for
so much.
having me. It
Yeah,
was a great video. I love doing it. It was amazing.
definitely. Let's do this again. Until then, see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Martin. Bye bye.
Sir, of course.